Okay, we're going to tell you about your story, because if you get that wrong, nothing else matters much. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at it, you won't get the results you want. So the key thing is clarity is everything. If you're not clear, people won't buy from you, you won't make sales, and they won't refer you. So let's think about what story is. It's a means of you making an emotional connection with the other person, so that you can motivate them, either to collaborate with you, to buy things with you, or if they work for you, to actually engage with whatever it is that you're doing. People generally are motivated either by the desire for new things, better things, or they want to avoid the pain of a situation that they're in. Generally speaking, in business-to-business sales, pain is what you really want to focus on. I mean, for instance, we know from our research that the main driver of IT in small businesses is the need to comply with government regulation. And the other thing is it's important to talk to people in language that makes sense to them if you want to motivate them. We'll come back to that in a minute. So fundamentally, you have to be really clear about what you do, who you do it for, and how it helps them. When people start out, they think that if they spread their net widely and say, well, I can do marketing for anybody, that they'll catch more business. Actually, the reverse is true. You're better off saying, I actually help people specifically market themselves in the food and drink area, and I specialise in organic companies. That means that anybody who is in that area will really want to talk to you, and people who you meet will refer you to anybody they know who's in that space. That's why it's so powerful. Now, coming back to the language, how do we sort out what language to use? We use a tool called the Brainmap, which was devised by Dudley Lynch, who wrote The Strategy of the Dolphin, a best-selling business book of the 80s. Dudley realised that the way that you think and the way that you express yourself depends on which quadrant of the brain you use both. You're probably familiar with the idea that you have a left side of the brain that deals with results and detail, and a right side of the brain that deals with patterns and relationships. And also there's a distinction between people who like to think a lot and people who like to just get on and do it. If we create 4 archetypes, we can sort of identify them in different sections of business. You have the I pursue people who basically just go after the results come what may. You may find them in small businesses, or they may be entrepreneurs, or they may be salespeople. People who think a bit more, but are also interested in results, are controllers. They could be accountants or project managers, but you find them quite often in large organisations. People who are into I preserve are the people who like to maintain the integrity and the ethos of the team. They're very loyal to the organisations they work for. You may find them in the public sector. And then people who are into explore, I explore, are the people who are the visionaries. They're right brained, they see patterns and possibilities, and those are the people who start new things off. So this is a summary of the personalities that we deal with. If you want to control an accountant, be detailed, logical and safe. If you want to sell to an entrepreneur, tell them that there's a time limit on the offer. It will be gone soon, so they'd better move. If you want to deal with a team player, then tell them that that we're doing this for the good of the group. And if you want to engage a visionary, then tell them that it's new, that there's loads of possibilities and opportunities for growth. One thing that is interesting is this group at the top, knowledge businesses, where people who are operating in that space have to integrate left and right sides of the brain. They have to be familiar both with technology and with people skills, and that means that couching stories for them involves you sort of really taking on board the way that they look at the world. So how can we do this? Here's a little tool that I think you might find useful. It helps you to establish whether you should be, how you should be communicating. We need to be clear what our needs are and our values are, and also the needs and values of the customer. If we can analyse those, we may find that a narrative drops out of that. I did this exercise with a team of builders who effectively wanted to be able to see how what they had in common with their customers to do some rebranding. So we thought about it, and it turned out that what they wanted was to have the job done on time at a reasonable amount of money. We're not too much pushing and shoving and argy-bargy. And guess what? That's what their customers wanted as well. So the story dropped out of then, which was just something about traditional values in the modern world. So why don't you take the time to sit down and think about how you can connect these stories together. Take the time to write a couple of paragraphs that connects what we do with the customer, and see if we can base it on the shared values and needs that we've already established. If we can effectively do this, we'll really be in a good shape, and we'll get more out of our marketing than we would do if we didn't do that. So that's really all I have to say today. Next time we'll talk about some other stuff, but here's just a reminder of the things you might find useful. All of these ideas are encapsulated in the Just 12 Hours workbook, which is 80 pages, and in the workshop that goes with it. And here are the ways in which you can get hold of the other stuff which we produce. So I look forward to talking to you again. All the best.